everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and we are once again returning at long last to the Grand Army of Chaos. Yes, we are back with the Slaves to Darkness, and we are here with the all-new, the all-shiny, the all-incredible Darkoath Marauders as part of the Darkoath Army Set that Games Workshop have very kindly sent to me early to build up and paint for all of you, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. I'm very excited because these are very, very, very cool and they look fantastic. So we're going to be painting them up today, and we're going to be using a pretty cool scheme to keep things nice and simple but very, very, very effective. So you'll want to make sure you tune in for this one. They've all been primed in Wraithbone. And well, we're going to jump in and start painting them in just a second. We are going to be doing a little bit of variation and stuff across the unit, but not so much that it's going to be like really kind of difficult to follow along. So we're just going to take it very steadily, once at a time, and it might be a little bit confusing, this video. It might jump around here and there, but at the end of it you'll have a really cool unit of Darkoath Marauders. So we'll be back in just a second after we've grabbed our paints and our brushes. See you in a sec. So the place we're actually going to start on all of our Marauders is actually with the flesh, because this will govern a number of the colour choices that we have going forward for things like their leather bandings and stuff like that. So our first one that we're going to do is we're going to, of course, use Darkoath Flesh. And we're going to apply this over the top of all the skin on this particular individual, who I believe is the champion. Now, some of them are wearing trousers, and some of them are not. The best way to check is to just have a little look around the model, and what you'll see sometimes, if they are wearing trousers, is at the back here there would be some kind of stitching or something on the trousers. This guy, though, is not wearing any trousers, so we are going to apply this over the top of the legs as well as the arms and the face and the torso. With that Darkoath Flesh all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh, and we're going to apply this all over the top of the skin of our banner bearer. And again, this one isn't wearing any trousers, so we do actually have the legs to do as well. So with that done, I've actually applied Guilliman Flesh to both of these individuals, this one here and this one here, as you can see. So what we're going to do is move on to the next colour, so pop those out of the way. And over the top of both of these individuals, just here, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown, and we're going to apply this over the top of their flesh. So we'll start with this guy. Now this guy, as you can see, is actually wearing trousers, so you can see it around here. And I've just dropped my brush on the floor. So we'll use this brush instead. So we're going to take that Cygor Brown. I'm going to apply this over top of all of this individual skin, starting just in here. So with our flesh, or rather our 3 flesh recipes sort of done for now. We do have a shade or 2 to add later, but we're not going to do that now. Instead, what we're going to do is move on to the next colour, which is going to be some Black Legion. Now, we're not going to be applying this over all of our details that are going to be black. Instead, what we're going to be doing is going to be applying this over top of all of their boots. The reason for this is, as mentioned, we are going to be jumping back and forth a little bit. Which might seem a little messy, but it'll make sense. And with all that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take Blood Angel's Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the hanging cloth. So these are the tabards, or skirts, or cloaks, or whatever. Half cloaks, I would guess. And we're going to do it over both inside and out. So with all that Blood Angel's Red applied, we then take Agrax Earthshade, and over the top of all of the fur lining of any of the boots, they don't all have this, we're going to apply this like that. Next up, for any of our boots that have got like a turned down boot, we're going to take Ratling Grime. I'm going to apply this over the top of that. With that Ratling Grime applied, what we're then going to do is take Wyldwood, and we're going to apply this over the top of, alternating between them to again create a little bit more variation. We're going to apply this either over the outside or the inside of the red. So for example, on this individual, we're going to apply Wyldwood over the top of the outside of all the red. Like that. And then similarly over the back as well. just like that. However, we could take something like this individual here, and instead of doing it over the outside of the red, we do this over the inside. For our single individual wearing trousers, what we're going to do is we're going to take that Wyldwood once again, and we're going to apply this over the top of the trousers. Next up, we're still sticking with Wyldwood, but we're also going to be using Ratling Grime here. But we're not going to be using them as like a blend or anything like that. What we are in fact going to be doing is alternating between them. So we're going to start with Wyldwood here, and we're going to apply Wyldwood over the top of any of these kind of fabric parts of the braces. Like that. On any of our paler skinned counterparts. Like that one, just there, like that. We've got the other one in here as well, so we'll do that. Like so. Now, in addition to this, what we're also going to do with the Wyldwood is over the top of any of the kind of harnessing, again, on our paler skinned counterparts. We're going to apply this like this. Like that. Got another bit just here. And there's more as well on the chest, like so. However, for any of our darker skins, like this guy, we're then going to take the Ratling Grime. And we're going to apply that over the top of the exact same details. Like so. And like that. With that then done, we take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of any scabbards, any belts, any grips, and any little leather ties. So with that then done, we'll take Black Templar. We're going to apply this to the wood on the inside of the shields. And then next up, we're going to take some Ratling Grime, and we're going to apply this over the top of any shirts. Or rather, chest wraps. So with that then done, we're going to work on all of their hair, and we're going to use 3 colours to do all of their hair, but not all at the same time. Again, no blending or relayering going on here. Instead, the 3 colours we're going to be using are Gore-Grunta Fur, Black Legion, and Cygor Brown. And, well, we're basically just going to pick different colours as we go through. So for this individual, we're going to use Gore-Grunta Fur. We're going to apply this over the top of all of the hair, just like this. Like that. And for our next one, which is going to be this one here. Ooh, defocused. There we go. We're then going to use Cygor Brown. Like so. And then for this guy, we're going to use Black Legion. And so with that now done, we're then going to take Agrax Earthshade once again, and we're going to use this over the top of this little trail of sort of horse hair or something, whatever it is, but as well as over the top of any bones, skulls, teeth, that kind of thing. Little trinkets that some of them are carrying, but not the little rune stones. We use a different colour for that. I forgot to mention we were also going to apply the Agrax Earthshade over the skin of the drum and over the beater, so we've done that as well. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey, and we're going to apply this over the top of any of those little hanging stones. That some of them are carrying. Just like that. So with that then done, we're now going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, and we're going to apply this over, well, pretty much all of the remaining details. And you can, if you want to, apply this over the top of all the remaining details. However, there is going to be a second metallic that we're going to put on, but Iron Warriors will act as a pretty nice base layer for that second metallic, so it doesn't actually matter too much if you do get this over the top of all of the remaining details. However, there are some things, for example, on the banner, which we're not going to apply this over the top of. So things like the horns and stuff like that. But we'll get to those a little bit later. So with all that Iron Warriors applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to apply this over the top of any other details that we want to be a different colour. In terms of the metallics, not just like the leather and stuff. That would be madness. So we're going to be looking for things like pommels and cross guards, weapons. We're going to be going for any armour that has a face. We've got the rondels on the shields. With all of that Retributor armour applied, we're now just got to add the base coats, or at least the remaining base coats, to the banner. So, the first of these is going to be Blood Angel's Red. I'm going to apply this over the top of the hair. With that all done, it's that paint again, it's Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the ropes, and cable ties and string and stuff. So with that then done, we take some Black Templar. We apply this over top of the hair of our decapitated heads. And so with that done, we're then going to take two colours, Wyldwood and Black Templar. I'm going to use this for all of the horns. So we're going to start by applying the Wyldwood all over. Like that. And then towards the tip of the horns, we're going to add the Black Templar. Just like that. And so for our final base coat before we embark upon the great shading, we're going to take some Poxwalker. I'm going to apply this over the top of the heads. So with that done, it is now time to add some shades, as mentioned. The first of these is going to be some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to use this to shade all the skin. Now, you don't have to do this if you want to create a little bit more variation on some of them. But I'd highly recommend it, because it just adds a little bit of extra punch. However, specifically for one of them, doesn't matter which, of our pale-skinned individuals, we are going to leave it, because we're going to shade that with something else, just for fun. But otherwise, for our Cygor Brown, Guilliman Flesh or Darkoath Flesh, you can add this shade of Reikland Fleshshade. With our Reikland Fleshshade applied to the other four, what we're going to do is on this one, we're going to take some Berserker Bloodshade. I'm going to use this to shade all the skin. Like I said, just for fun and just for a bit of extra variation. And next up, we're going to use some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to use this to shade all the gold. But included within that, not just all the gold, but also the entirety of the shield. But we're not shading all of the silver with Agrax Earthshade. And for our last shade, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the remaining silver, all of the black, and all of the Ratling Grime. So with all those shades applied, our Marauders are now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And they're looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave them there. We're going to take them to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some highlights. Now, the first of these highlights is going to be some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight our 3 pale-skinned individuals. So we're going to start with this one, because this one is the unit leader. It's the one we've spent the most time with. So once again, we are using that thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight all of their skin, regardless of how they've been shaded. Or indeed if they've been shaded at all. And for our 2 other individuals, we're going to use some thinned down Knight-Questor Flesh. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. With those flesh highlights applied, we then take a tiny amount of Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of the eyeballs. And with all that Black Legion applied, I'm going to take, similarly, a small amount of Volupus Pink. I'm going to apply this over top of any teeth or open mouths. Just like that. And so with that done, we're then going to take teensy tiny little dot of Screaming Skull. I'm going to apply this in the corners of the eyeballs and to highlight any teeth. So with all their faces and skin now done, what we can do is move on to the next colours. And the next colour is going to be some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to use this to highlight the darker red. So the bits that we did those Wyldwood shading on. And with all that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we then take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. And we use this to highlight the brighter parts of the red. So with that all done, we're now going to move on. And we're going to take some thinned down Karak Stone. And we're going to use this to highlight, well, most of the remaining details. So we're going to use this to highlight any kind of Wyldwood straps. We're going to use this to highlight any Ratling Grime bits. We're going to use this to highlight any trousers. Pretty much most of the leather, excluding the black boots and any wraps on the weapons. So with all that Karak Stone applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight all of those remaining black details. So with that done, it's now time to work on the metallics, and the colour that we're going to use to highlight first is we're going to work on the silver. The colour we're going to be using for this is some thinned down Ironbreaker. And finally, just to finish things off, we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the gold. So with our bases all complete, our Darkoath Marauders are now finished. And, well, it's been a long time coming having new Marauders miniatures, and these are absolutely wonderful. They do not disappoint at all. They're not as detailed as I initially thought they were, which is good, and they go together really nicely, and they look really effective. Some of them are just absolutely fantastic. I really love the guy pointing forward with a sword, for example. He's my favourite, probably, I think. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.